They should have left it open. If they did not have anything, they should have said, we've arrested somebody, but we do not know why. But they were ruling out. They were making it very clear that this was not. And so therefore, it is reasonable, given what happened after Southport, given what happened after Henry Nowak, given other instances, that people are not trusting what the police say anymore, because it seems like they're trying to manage public opinion rather than anything else.
Now, the former Conservative MP and Reform spokesperson Ann Widdecombe's murder has sparked widespread political debate since its announcement on Friday. It's not currently, as we've just been hearing, being treated as a politically motivated killing, though Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has claimed he believes it was premeditated. While some have condemned Farage for, as they see it, exploiting the death and using it as propaganda, others wish to mark the life of their colleague and friend. Let's get the reaction from one of them, Gawain Towler, a Reform UK board member who joins us now from the memorial near her home. Welcome to The Times at 1 on a difficult day for you and many others. Can you tell us about your relationship with Ann Widdecombe?
Well, it was a very brief relationship, I suppose, initially, and then I became her press officer when she joined the Brexit Party in 2019. But it went very quickly from being a professional to very much a friendship. And she had a talent for kindness.
And actually, a lot of people might not see that side of her.
She's famous for the caricature of the Doris Karloff and the forthright, strong woman whose opinions never vary and are held with passion and conviction. And then we had the sort of the self-deprecating, almost cartoonish figure of Strictly Come Dancing and that celebrity side of her. But within all that, those convictions, her Christian faith was very strongly felt.
Yes.
And as such, all people were people to be loved, whatever they did and whoever they were. So her religious conviction demanded from her a strong statement of belief and conviction, but equally an absolute belief that people were good.
Well, in your mind, of course, you can be two things. You can be both things at the same time. You can be a conviction politician or person, but you would accept that she was polarising in some aspects of her life and her beliefs, and there were many people...
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, her beliefs were polarising. But if you speak to people, say, like Ian Dale, who became very close friends in a gay marriage, she opposed gay marriage, and yet she loved people within gay marriage.
And what do you think about...
And that is not a contradiction if you were a person of faith. It feels like a contradiction to the modern zeitgeist, who assumes that everything is straight lines. But to somebody of faith, that is not a contradiction at all.
I mean, how did her impact evolve, do you think? You've mentioned Strictly Come Dancing. I mean, of course, it was infamous, in fact, and Turns in Panto. How did that sort of evolve over the years, in your opinion?
I think but when she retired from sort of frontline politics, she had to do something with her time. And somebody who persuaded her was... it was John Sargent, wasn't it, who persuaded her it would be lots of fun. So she went, all right, I'll give it a shot. Because she had this sense of the absurd. But that is something that I think the newspapers never really allowed for, because they saw her just as some of her political statements rather than... And there was a sort of metropolitan, isn't she funny, the non-married... And as was appallingly said this week, the spinster, the this, that, the other. She was a figure of political fun in a slightly contemptuous fashion. And so therefore, it was hard for people to get out of that and realise that within it was one of the kindest people I've ever met.
And it's interesting because there'll be a lot of people listening who will say, well, actually, she came across as rather unforgiving in so many ways.
In her politics, but not in her personality and not in her person. And this is what I mean. People these days see a political situation, a political perspective, and assume... if you look at the responses in social media after the news of her death, it is the crowd that tell us to be kind who have been so unpleasant. They they parade their virtue, but when it actually comes down to it, they're not kind. Whereas she paraded her lack of zeitgeist, modern parlance virtue, and yet personally had it in spades.
Well, let's talk about some of the reaction to her death and then the news that she was found dead in her own home, having sustained injuries. What do you think? And now it's being led by counter-terrorism. You may have heard the discussion I just had.
It's just broken, hasn't it? I didn't hear the discussion, sadly.
OK, well, I was speaking to Dal Babu, who is a former police superintendent with the Metropolitan Police, and we were discussing the difficulties of a lot of speculation going out online or even publicly. And Reform UK leaders, you know, Nigel Farage has claimed the killing was premeditated and that he's 100% certain the death wasn't a burglary gone wrong, one of the theories behind what happened. What do you make of the criticism of him for openly speculating like that?
Well, in recent years, it has become harder and harder to trust the police when they make statements. And they've now, the first thing they said, white male, wasn't it? And then another, that one's been released, but another white male. Let's get that nailed down. Let's everybody know it's a white male. And it's nothing to do with terrorism. It's nothing. And then, maybe. And this happened in Southport. This happened over Henry Nowak. We're becoming increasingly inured to the idea that the police are trying to manage the public rather than tell the truth.
But is that because the public then, or can, fill the vacuum if details aren't released with inaccurate and blatantly wrong information that whips up a certain amount of discontent, and therefore, as you say, they're managing it.
So they should get on and tell the truth.
But they may not know exactly what the situation is, and there has to be due process followed.
There actually does have to be due process, and I, for the life of me, couldn't tell you what happened and who was responsible and why. However, it is reasonable to presume that somebody doesn't drive over 200 miles each way on a whim.
But is it responsible? Finally, is it responsible of a political leader?
Is it responsible for the police to say there was nothing to do with politics?
Yeah, you're posing a question to me, but I just want to get your answer about whether you think it's responsible of Nigel Farage to intervene in the way he has after a convention.
I suppose I answer your question with the question, is it responsible of the police to announce it's nothing to do with, there is no reason to believe, oh, by the way, it's now being run by counter-terrorism 2 days later, 3 days later.
All right.
They could have been much more. They were trying to cut down possibilities in public, which they should not have done. They should have left it open. If they did not have anything, they should have said, we've arrested somebody, but we do not know why. But they were ruling out. They were making it very clear that this was not. And so therefore, it is reasonable, given what happened after Southport, given what happened after Henry Nowak, given other instances, that people are not trusting what the police say anymore, because it seems like they're trying to manage public opinion rather than anything else.
Gawain Towler, thank you very much for speaking to us, a Reform UK board member.